Well, there's many ways to decide on how to make the best checker play. There's a whole lot of approaches that have been developed and a whole lot of rules of thumb and shortcuts and so on. And I think they can all get confusing. What most people do is they look at the dice and they just sort of have something that jumps out at them and they make the play. And if nothing jumps out at them, they look around the board and see how they can play the dice and what looks good and makes the play. And if you're a very strong player with many years of experience and you're able to um, do that quickly and without a lot of analysis, you can usually find the right play that way. But in order to get to the point where just uh, looking at the numbers and looking at possible plays and just trying to quickly figure out which is better, you have to be an incredibly experienced and skilled player, and you probably didn't get there by doing things that way. You probably got there by being more analytical and by taking a more studied approach at checker play. And a more studied approach, and the one that I teach and I think is clearly the best approach, is to have a step-by-step uh, a methodology that gets you to the right play. Step one is always understand where you are in the game, what the score of the match is, if gammons are of extra value or not, gammon value, uh, if this is a situation at a score that's in any way special where you might be giving the cube sooner or be getting it sooner, or if you have any special thing about the score that's going on. Well, here, in this case, it's 11 away. 11 away, a normal match score. And I think about these things at the beginning of every game so that I don't have to go over it every single roll. The next step is when you get a roll to think about what is your overall game plan. The three major themes or game plans or ways to win a backgammon game are by racing, which is the number one way to win a game. You get your checkers around the board and off first. Priming or blocking your opponent. If you're behind in the race or even if you're ahead, you might win the game and do better by building points in a row if the situation calls for that. Or if you're losing a race or in a position where it works out better for you, you can also win by hitting. So those are your three major, hitting or attacking. Those are your three major game plans. Well, let's see how we can put this approach into play after you think about the game plan and decide on what your best game plan is based on the position and the roll and the score and everything else. Then you can look at the possible plays and decide which one fits the game plan best, which one works best. And usually, if you are making a play that is in concert with your game plan, you're less likely to be making a blunder, and you're more likely to make the right play, or at least, even if you don't make the best play, usually not one that's that horrible, because at least you're doing the right, you got the right idea about what you should be doing. So let me give you a typical situation. Let's say that you're red and you roll a 4-2. We all know that plays automatic. You make the 4 point. And now blue rolls a 5-5. Again, automatic. He has no real options here. But now it gets dicey. Now you get a 6-4. And how do you play a 6-4? Well, the like I said, lots of people would look at the various possible ways to play a 6-4. What comes to your mind? What are you thinking of? And the typical player is going to think, well, okay, well, I can run or make the 2 point. And then they stop and think about which one's better. And they might even move both of them and see which one looks better to you. That looks pretty good. If he doesn't hit me with a 2, that might work. That might be a decent play to make. I could go out to his bar and come down. Lots of people would think about that play also. That certainly is an option. Oh, geez, I didn't even think about that when I first started looking. So that's an option, but this gets hit a lot. He's got an extra spare here. If he had 2 checkers here, I'd be more excited about making this play than when he has 3, because then a 1 hit would really strip him and leave a double blot out there. So that's the problem with this play. It gets hit a lot. In addition to the 6s and 1s here, double 4 also hits here, double 2s, I don't know. So this looks okay. Then the other option that we talked about that jumps out at most people is this play. Not a bad play. You got 300 board points, and a little bit Swiss cheese. How do you decide which is best? Well, again, don't do it that way. Ask yourself, what's your best game plan? He just rolled double fives. You're down 14 pips in the race. After you move your 6-4, you're down 4 pips in the race, and you have to consider where you are after the roll. So maybe racing isn't a great game plan. That probably suggests that this isn't a great play. Coming out to the bar, which is pretty much of a trying to race game, and getting hit a lot doesn't seem to be a great play, and it's playing into his game because he'd probably rather play a hitting game because he's got the 3-point made, you got the 4-point made, you got a better priming game than him. Making the 2-point, that might give you a better hitting game in that you have 300 board points, but you got not a lot to shoot at, and you're not likely to get a lot of shots next time with these two checkers stuck back here. So think about what's the best game plan. Racing doesn't seem to be a great game plan. Hitting doesn't appear to be a great game plan, but you have a priming advantage. You have a great start for a priming game because you've made the 4-point, and all you need to do is fill in these points, and you've got a great priming game. He doesn't have much of a priming game after making the 3-point. It's harder for him to play a priming game. You don't have much of a racing game. Priming might be your best game plan. Let's see. Is there a game plan? Is there a play that might work for a priming game? Is there one of those plays work? Well, now that you have priming game in mind, maybe another play might pop out at you. Wow. This could get hit a lot too, and this could get hit. All 6s except for the double 3 doesn't hit. Double 2 clobbers you twice. There are 17 ways to roll a 6, but since double 3 doesn't hit, that means there's 16 ways. That means that most of the time, 20 out of 36 times, you won't get hit here, but of course you can also get hit with a double 4. So that puts us back to 17 ways. You're still slightly favored not to get hit. If you don't get hit, you got a pretty big game here for a priming game. This is risky, but so are all the other plays. But this supports your best game plan. With these two checkers stuck back here and your 4-point made, a priming game is your best game plan. So all the plays look pretty lousy. You're not always choosing between the best plays. You're often choosing between the least bad play. But if you can think in terms of game plan first and then make the play that's best for the game plan, that's more likely to be the right play. Now, there's another way to play this. You could bring the 6 down and the 4 up. The problem with that is it adds 1s and 3s and 6s to hit. It's just way too often that you're going to get hit, and sometimes you'll get hit twice. The only way you get hit twice with the other play is with a double 2 or a 6-2. And here you get hit twice with a 6-1, 6-3, and anything else hit twice? I don't think so. That's it. So, but that's still a lot. There's a lot more ways to get hit twice, and plus you're almost surely going to get hit once. 27 out of 36 rolls contain a 1, 3, or 6, and that's not counting combinations like 4-2 and double 2 and double 4. Still points on this checker too. So too many ways to get hit twice. So if you're going to play a priming game, this gets hit less and has more of a chance to succeed. This play may not have even entered your mind if you didn't think about game plan first. Well, let's see what the right play is. Let's see what Extreme Gammon says. This is a third roll position, and people who really study the game, and by the way, this opening ceremony product that Perry Gartner, myself, and Murata Khan developed shows how to play your third rolls all rolled out by Extreme Gammon. I'm not trying to do a commercial for it, but it is endorsed by the USBGF, so I don't mind saying something on this website about it, and we donate part of the income from that program to the USBGF. So it's another way to see third roll plays, but Extreme Gammon very clearly shows this to be the right play by a lot. 0.077 error if you don't make that play. You win more games, you win more gammons. As far as losing gammons, that's what the biggest scare of this play. It really doesn't lose hardly any. If it actually loses fewer gammons than playing 20-14. And of course, you're going to lose fewer gammons by making the 2-point, but you got an ugly game. You got a board that looks like Swiss cheese. So this is a play that until you start thinking about game plan, it may not even occur to you to make it, and uh, that's a shame. So start thinking about game plan and put that on the top of your list before you start looking at the individual moves. And then I didn't continue. After you come up with game plan, consider every possible move. This is a move that if you're trying to consider every possible move, you might at least have looked at it. And if you just look at the moves that you think that pop out at you and just consider those, you might not even consider this move. So I hope this helps your game, and thank you for watching and supporting the USBGF. Phil Simborg for the USBGF. Bye-bye.